Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you isn't gossip, it's a wake-up call. Most women don't confess when they're slipping away. They announce it in code. You've heard these phrases before, soft, harmless words that hide the storm underneath. Tonight, I'm decoding them. Before we dive in, hit subscribe if you're ready to hear what most men never will. Like this video if you've ever felt that quiet shift you couldn't explain. And tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. I want to know where the truth is landing tonight. Ready? Let's begin. Phrase number 1. I just need some space to think. You've probably heard this one said with a sigh, maybe after a quiet dinner or a harmless disagreement. She says she just needs space. It sounds calm, reasonable, even mature. But underneath that polished line hides something colder, a silent rewrite of the story you thought you were both living in. When a woman asks for space, it's rarely about air. It's about distance, emotional, strategic, and rehearsed. By the time she says it, she's already been creating that space for weeks. Shorter texts, delayed replies, half-hearted smiles. You start noticing the empty seats beside her, the phone she places face down, the "I'll go for a walk" that now lasts an hour longer than it used to. There's always a subtle rhythm to it. The timing feels too deliberate. She'll say it when you finally stopped asking questions, or right after she spent too long on her phone with a friend from work. She might toss in a soft laugh, trying to sound light, but her eyes, those tell the real story. They don't seek yours anymore. They're looking somewhere else. Take Julia, for example, a friend's wife I once coached through this very moment. She told her husband she needed time to clear her head. What she didn't mention was that she was already emotionally packed. Her late-night walks were phone calls. Her thinking space was a testing ground for life without him. Here's what makes this phrase dangerous. It sounds responsible, mature. It puts her in control while making you question your own instincts. You start thinking, maybe I really am too demanding. Maybe she just needs quiet. But in truth, she's already in the quiet. Just not with you in it. Men over 50 often mistake this phrase for self-reflection, but it's more like self-replacement. She's not asking for time to fix the relationship. She's checking whether she can live without it. And if you push back, if you ask, what's really wrong, she'll say, I told you I just need space. Calm, final, and practiced. So the next time you hear it, don't rush to fill the silence. Watch instead. The truth won't come from her words. It'll come from where she goes when she's thinking. But don't get comfortable yet, because silence isn't the real danger. What comes after silence is far more ruthless. Phrase number 2. You're imagining things. It usually slips out with a laugh. Soft, dismissive, perfectly timed to make you doubt yourself. You mention something odd you've noticed, the late-night messages, the sudden phone privacy, the weekend plans with friends that never have details. She tilts her head, smiles just enough, and says, You're imagining things. This is where the game changes, because now she's not just hiding something, she's rewriting your reality. It's not deflection, it's psychological misdirection. By framing your intuition as paranoia, she flips the script. You go from the man asking questions to the man who can't be trusted with answers. And she'll do it smoothly. Maybe while scrolling through her phone, pretending she didn't hear you the first time. Maybe she laughs and calls you jealous, as if your concern is an overreaction instead of a warning signal. You feel ridiculous for even bringing it up. And that's the point. She wants you second-guessing your own eyes. I've seen it happen 100 times in my coaching sessions. A client once told me, every time I caught something strange, she'd smile and say I was overthinking it. Later, he found out she'd been planning her exit for months, right under the comfort of his confusion. The phrase worked because it created doubt, not about her, but about himself. Women use this line not out of panic, but out of control. It's a subtle way of saying, stop looking where it hurts. And if you do stop, the truth grows in the dark. Men over 50, especially those who pride themselves on being rational, are the easiest to gaslight because they believe in logic, and she's betting on that. She knows you'll analyze, reason, explain it away. You'll tell yourself you're being unfair. But what you're really doing is protecting her comfort at the cost of your clarity. Here's your reality check. If you've ever had to defend what you saw, heard, or felt, you weren't imagining anything. You were witnessing something someone didn't want you to name. So the next time you hear that soft, practiced line, don't argue, don't explain, just pay attention to what she rushes to protect. Because guilt isn't her sharpest weapon. The next one is colder, and it wears a smile. Phrase number 3. He's just a friend from work. She says it casually, like it's nothing, a throwaway line over dinner, maybe while glancing at her phone. He's just a friend from work. Simple, innocent, airtight, but every syllable is rehearsed. That word just is doing all the heavy lifting. It's the invisible shield that makes you feel like a fool for even asking. Here's the truth. When a woman emphasizes just, it's rarely about friendship. It's about concealment. She's minimizing something that already feels too significant. And if you listen closely, you'll notice the rhythm of her stories start to change. That friend appears in small ways, mentioned in jokes, in group chats, in harmless anecdotes that slowly become routine. It starts with work talk. He's on my project. He's funny, you'd like him. Then, it turns into late meetings, urgent deadlines, and messages that conveniently arrive when she's in another room. The friendship becomes a presence, not physical yet, but emotional. You start recognizing the name more than you hear your own. I once coached a man named Peter, 58, who brushed it off the first few times. His wife kept talking about her friend from marketing, how brilliant he was, how everyone admired him. Peter thought she was just proud of her team, but one night she left her phone on the counter, screen glowing. A message flashed. Made it home okay, missed our talk. Just a friend, right? What's dangerous isn't the friendship itself. It's the emotional rehearsal it creates. She gets used to sharing her best energy somewhere else. The laughs, the validation, the secrets. By the time you sense something's off, that friend already knows more about her bad days than you do. And when you question it, she'll double down. Don't be jealous, he's married. You're overreacting. It's work, not personal. Every excuse sounds logical, because logic is the best disguise for betrayal. If you ever notice her lighting up while talking about another man, yet going quiet when she's with you, understand this. Emotional loyalty breaks long before physical distance appears. So when she smiles and says, he's just a friend, don't listen to her tone. Watch her eyes. They'll tell you where her real conversations live. But stay sharp, because sympathy doesn't stop at friendship. It always asks for secrets. Phrase number 4. You've changed. It sounds like feedback, but it's really a verdict. When she looks at you with that cool distance and says, you've changed, she's not observing. She's justifying. That phrase is never about who you've become. It's about who she's already chosen to stop being for you. This line usually drops after a shift you didn't even notice. She started dressing differently, spending weekends with new friends, or posting cryptic quotes about growth and peace. Then one day, during a small disagreement, maybe about her late nights or fading affection, she exhales and says it. You've changed. Calm, controlled, final. But think about it. Who hasn't changed? You worked hard, carried responsibilities, weathered storms. Life changes people. Yet somehow, she frames your evolution as the problem, not the progress. Why? Because the more she pulls away, the more she needs a story that makes you the reason she's drifting. I once coached a man named Richard, 54. His wife of 22 years began saying this after reconnecting with old friends online. She'd come home with that distant glow, laughing to herself, checking messages before bed. When Richard tried to talk, she smiled and said, "You've changed. You're not as fun as you used to be." What she really meant was, "I've changed, and I need to make it your fault." It's a subtle guilt trap. You start defending yourself. "I'm still me. I've just been busy. I'm trying." And while you explain, she steps further away emotionally, satisfied that you're too busy proving your worth to question hers. This phrase is also a test. She's measuring whether you'll fight her illusion or accept it. Most men, especially those who lead with reason, try to fix the version of themselves she claims to miss, not realizing that version only exists in nostalgia she's rewriting. Here's the truth. When a woman says, "You've changed," what she's really saying is, "I'm no longer comfortable being the same." It's not an accusation, it's a confession, disguised as disappointment. So don't rush to convince her otherwise. Let her reveal what she's really mourning, the relationship or her old reflection in your eyes. And brace yourself, because the next phrase doesn't blame you at all. It pretends to protect you while quietly walking away. Phrase number 5. "I just don't want to argue anymore." It sounds peaceful, doesn't it? A woman saying she doesn't want to fight. You might even feel relieved for a second, thinking the storm has passed. But in truth, this phrase doesn't mark the end of conflict. It marks the end of connection. When she says, "I just don't want to argue anymore," what she really means is, "I've stopped caring enough to fix it." Arguments, as painful as they are, still mean both people want to be heard. Silence, on the other hand, means she's already decided her truth no longer includes your side of the story. It often begins after a few unresolved issues, late nights, distance, those strange coincidences you can't quite explain. You bring them up. She sighs, shakes her head, maybe forces a tired smile. "Can we not do this again? I just don't want to argue anymore." Her tone sounds exhausted, but her eyes, calm, too calm. That's not peace, that's withdrawal. Take Marcus, a client of mine. He noticed his wife stopped correcting him. She'd nod, agree, or say, "You're right," just to end conversations. He thought she was finally listening. What he didn't realize was that she had already checked out emotionally, saving her words for someone else, somewhere else. This phrase is strategic. It gives her moral high ground while painting you as the aggressor. Suddenly, you're the one creating tension. You're the reason she feels drained. It's a clever shield. She appears calm, mature, above the chaos. Meanwhile, she's quietly dismantling the relationship piece by piece. And the irony, men over 50 often see this as maturity. She's tired of fighting. We've both grown up. But grown-ups still talk. They still repair. What she's doing isn't maturity. It's exit preparation disguised as emotional control. When the arguments stop, don't mistake silence for harmony. Pay attention to where her energy goes next. Longer hours at work, new hobbies that don't include you, friends who suddenly become her refuge. That's where her words are living now. Because when she stops arguing, it's not peace she's giving you, it's distance. And by the time you realize that, she'll already be fluent in saying goodbye without ever using the word. But don't exhale yet. Some women don't leave quietly. They rewrite the ending first. Phrase number 6. "You deserve someone better." It's the most delicate dagger of them all. The line that sounds compassionate while slicing away the last thread of connection. You deserve someone better. Soft voice, teary eyes, a trembling lip that almost convinces you she's doing this for your sake. But make no mistake, this isn't kindness. It's her escape plan, carefully wrapped in guilt. This phrase doesn't appear in the heat of an argument. It arrives when she's already rehearsed the ending. The fights are over, the explanation's done. And now she's rewriting herself as the hero who sets you free. It's emotional theater, and you're the audience she needs to forgive her. I remember a client named Howard, 62. His wife sat across from him at breakfast, hands folded around her coffee mug, and said those exact words. He thought she was being selfless, that maybe she felt unworthy of his patience. 2 weeks later, she'd moved out. Later still, he found the truth. She wasn't stepping away because he deserved better. She was stepping towards someone new who made her feel better. That's how this phrase works. It transfers responsibility. You stop asking, "Why are you leaving?" and start thinking, "Maybe I pushed her too far." It makes you mourn her pain instead of questioning her motives. It's guilt rebranded as grace. When a woman says this, she's not doubting your worth, she's softening her exit. She's already justified the decision to herself, and now she needs your emotional permission. If you respond with comfort, if you say, "No, I don't want someone else," she'll nod sadly as if she tried. The performance ends. Curtain down. Men over 50 are especially vulnerable to this phrase because it sounds noble. It speaks to your protector instinct, the one that wants to make peace instead of conflict. But don't mistake her tone for tenderness. She's not offering closure, she's offering anesthesia. So what should you do? Nothing. Don't argue, don't plead, don't rescue. Let her words hang in the air until they echo back to her. Because truth doesn't need defending, but lies often sound like mercy. And while you're still processing that kind goodbye, remember this: not every heartbreak announces itself with tears. Because the next phrase doesn't sound like sorrow at all, it sounds like freedom, and that's what makes it lethal. Phrase number 7. I just want to be happy. It's the final curtain call, the phrase that sounds pure, noble, even tragic. I just want to be happy. She says it softly, maybe with a tear in her voice, or a trembling smile that makes her seem brave. But make no mistake, this isn't a confession, it's a conclusion. By the time she says these words, every emotional bridge has already burned down. She's not searching for happiness, she's justifying its cost, and that cost is usually you. This line feels impossible to argue with. Who can be against happiness? It makes you look cruel if you question it. That's the genius of it. It silences you. She's not blaming you anymore. She's outgrowing you. It's not a fight, it's philosophy. She's not saying, "You make me unhappy." She's saying, "I'm meant for more." But the truth is, that happiness is rarely new. It's been blooming quietly somewhere else, maybe in a message thread, a late-night conversation, a world she hasn't invited you into. The phrase gives her moral permission to chase that feeling without looking like the villain. Take Denise, a woman one of my clients was married to for 25 years. She started using that phrase right after joining a new fitness group. I just want to be happy, she'd say whenever he brought up their distance. Turns out that happiness had a name, someone who understood her better. She didn't lie, she just edited the truth. Men over 50 often miss the shift because they take the words at face value. They hear sadness, not resolve. But underneath, this phrase is power, a declaration that her story no longer includes compromise. She's already packed emotionally, even if she's still sitting at the table across from you. And here's the hardest part. When she says it, she believes it. That's what makes it sting deeper than anger. She's not trying to hurt you. She's already detached enough not to notice that she is. So when you hear, "I just want to be happy," don't argue, don't promise change. Just recognize what it really means. She's already rewritten the ending. And this time, you're not the hero. Because when happiness becomes her excuse, she doesn't need honesty to leave, only peace. See you in the next video.